Oh, hey, I'm glad you're here. It's the end of the year, a time when people love to forecast with hope what's coming in the next 12 months. An experience not unlike that feeling you'd get in the aisles of the video store. You'd see the ghoulie coming out of the toilet on the box and just hope that that's in the film, unaware that that image was so popular that reshoots had to happen to tie in the film to their own promotional campaign. Rotor was another one with an awesome robot cop standing amongst wreckage, gun drawn, was so cool and not at all what's in the movie. Murder Cycle was another awesome image that just made you hopeful that an awesome murder cycle was in your future. And who could forget Future Kill? Beautiful box. I've touched on this topic before, the estimate of examining the box and weighing if this was what you wanted for the evening. For me, if I saw Robert Zadar and Brian James in a box, then I knew I was going to enjoy it. Yeah, so you can imagine how I felt when they both popped up in Tango and Cash. I was thrilled. I just watched the documentary about the last blockbuster entitled The Last Blockbuster because it's set in Bend, Oregon. And I recommend it. Even though Blockbuster wiped out the mom and pop shops like the one I grew up in, it's still a great documentary. And it has a section where people talk about the moment of standing in the aisle and projecting what you hope your evening is like. Projecting. See what I did there? All right. Well, let's get to it. The film is Popcorn, the guest is a projectionist, and this is VH Us. Hello, and welcome to VH Us, the podcast where each episode is about a film and the guest has the experience or profession portrayed in the film. I'm your host, Dirk Marshall, and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at VHUS_podcast, VH-US.com. And that pretty much covers the bases. I'm joined in the studio by Chris Tanski, who was a projectionist. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Dirk.
Now, you were a projectionist for 12 and a half years. Is that correct?
Yes, because we eventually switched over to all digital, so I didn't need to be upstairs anymore.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
You do have a job other than that experience, being the production manager at Fright Rags. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
What does a production manager do?
Basically, it's just a lot of plate spinning. I handle all the licenses that we pay for, and then I come up with ideas, and I work with my boss, and we come up with ideas, and then we find an artist that will be best suited for that idea, and then I submit the design, and hopefully it gets approved. And when it's approved, then I order all the shirts, pins, socks, what have you.
Yeah, and for those that might not know what Fright Rags is, could you break that down for us?
Yeah, we are, to coin a phrase, a kick-ass t-shirt company. We do a lot of apparel and accessories on a lot of pop culture things, but mainly horror films.
Thank you. And anyone looking to find you, you are Polish Phenom, is that correct?
Yes, on Twitter and Instagram, but the O's are zeros.
Right, it's very tricky. The reason we're brought together is because we're brought together to discuss the film Popcorn. No, this was not a first-time view for you.
Correct.
Yeah.
I actually saw it in theaters in 1991.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I'd seen it in the theater. Sadly, I saw it via the promo tape that my dad's video store had.
Oh, nice. Well, that's
And
still cool too.
it was pretty fun, but it had that scroll along the bottom the whole time that's like duplicating this is against the law or whatever. So
Fine,
the little
good.
distracting. But at the time of this recording, you can rent it at your local video store, like Movie Madness here in Portland. I have the Steel Book from Synapse Films, which is pretty awesome. I think there's a couple other. Oh, there you go. That's perfect. We both have the same one. Yeah, it's actually a really loaded Blu-ray. It's got some good documentary stuff and some wonderful features on there. But if you don't have that, you can, go rent it at your local video store, show some support. First, let's put the film in context. To the directors, we have Alan Ormsby, who was fired after shooting the short films. Is that correct?
Yes, all the movies within a movie.
Which look fantastic. Yeah. I guess he was spending a lot of time on those, and they got, I think that was
showed.
Yeah, oh, for sure. He directed Deranged, Confessions of a Necrophile, and The Great Masquerade, but he wrote Death Dream, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, all three substitute films, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, and Mulan. Yeah,
I
he
didn't know.
at least had a pass on it. He's credited with it,
Yeah.
so. The director is Mark Harrier. Did Popcorn, 2 short films, but as an actor is mostly known for Porky's, Porky's Revenge, Real Men, some TV, including Bosch.
Nice.
Cinematographer, we got Ronnie Taylor, which is pretty awesome. Tommy, Savage Harvest, Gandhi, Chorus Line, Popcorn, Sleepless, the Argento film. That's quite a run. That's very nice. Our editor is Stan Cole, who did Black Christmas, Breaking Point, Porky's, A Christmas Story. Those are 2 different films. Rhinestone, Turk 182, and Karate Dog. Yeah.
Sensing a theme here.
Yeah, yes. I think he worked with Bob Clark a lot.
Who I think is secretly the director of this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. We should just mention that right now. It's a very fascinating way it all came about. But he was the producer, right? And then ended up directing.
I think I think he directed some stuff there.
Yeah, because I think Mark, and it seems very maybe hesitant possibly in the documentary to say that Bob had his hand in there, but he does talk about him taking a camera and shooting things off on his own, which I think kind of
I don't know if it's a Tobe Hooper Spielberg poltergeist thing, but there might be.
Yeah, that poltergeist Tobe Hooper. I love Tobe Hooper. The actor, we have Jill Sholin. She was in Cutting Class, Curse 2, Little House on the Prairie, DC Cab, Stepfather, and When a Stranger Calls Back. That's a nice run. And then we got Tom Villard, who was in Parasite in '82, One Crazy Summer, Shakes the Clown, and My Girl.
Originally from my hometown.
Oh, really? Which is?
Rochester, New York.
There you go. We also have Dee Wallace, who was in a couple small films like E.T., Cujo, The Howling, Critters, The Hills Have Eyes, Alligator 2, and she was a voice in Rock-a-Doodle, which one of our previous episode guests was an animator on, so that's always fun. She's been in like 250 things, so I'm not going to list all of them, but anyone that doesn't know who Dee Wallace
for part 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Of this episode.
It's just all. I should do that sometime. Just keep going. Just watch the guest's eyes glass over as I'm like, and then this movie in 1978.
Take a deep breath. and
yeah, the Dee Wallace podcast. But let's just get right to it and press play on Popcorn. We start with crazy dream imagery, and we see Maggie, and she's having trouble sleeping. She awakens to record it on tape.
Same dream. There's smoke. Someone takes her hand. She's running. The same man comes towards her.
Which is interesting. We see her mom answer the phone, and a mysterious voice says, "Remember who the 9th circle of hell is reserved for."
Sorry, wrong number.
Remember who the 9th circle of hell is reserved for.
Which is
if I had a nickel.
Yeah, right. Maggie heads off to school, and we meet her kind of boyfriend, I guess. The school film department's having a meeting. I mean, every high school has a film department, right? I mean,
I wish.
And then they all meet in the gym, which is weird. The idea is pitched that they're going to have an all-night horror-thon with gimmicks for each film. Next, they head to the theater, and we meet Dr. M. He delivers a fantastic monologue, despite, I guess, being really agitated to be there.
Yeah. Thanks, Ray Walston.
Yeah.
Hey, fellas!
Whoa, wait a minute. What makes you think people are going to pay $6 to see some crappy old movie they wouldn't even rent for 99 cents?
Because you can't see Mosquito at home in 3D. What's it called?
Projecto vision.
Right. Nor can you watch The Stench in authentic odoroscope.
Aroma-rama.
Those cards given at the theater.
Could use those in lots of movies.
Right. Or The Amazing Electrified Man in...
Shakoscope.
And that's why they're going to pay $10.
See, every one of these pictures was originally released with some kind of a promotional gimmick.
Yeah, which we're going to recreate for our audience, only with improvements.
So on the one hand, it'll be a total goof.
And on the other hand, we're going to scare the living shit out of them.
Quite lovely. One of the things that I think elevates this wonderful movie.
Saturday night at 8 o'clock, I know where I'm gonna go.
We get a funky montage as they prep the theater, and it's Saturday Night at the Movies. It's a lovely little ditty that plays. My wife said that she really wants the shot clock that's in this portion where it's this awesome clock that hangs in the foyer of the theater. Did your theater you worked at or theaters have a shot clock?
Did not have a shot clock, no, but we're hoping to maybe create an enamel pin at some point next year because it is the anniversary.
Oh, wow. Has this been out anywhere? Is this a...
No.
Okay, great.
It's just in the planning stages.
Oh.
We'd like to do these things, but we'll see. Because the art on the steelbook is actually ours.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I mean, ours in the sense that that's our main artist.
Yeah. Who is the artist?
Justin Osborne.
Awesome. Okay. They find a mysterious reel of film with a warning on it, so they play it, as you do in a movie when you find mysterious films. Our first venture to the projection booth. What was your first venture into the projection booth?
Actually, I don't know if I could pinpoint my first movie that I started or laced up, but I'm thinking somewhere in '99 because it was right around when Midsummer Night's Dream came out and Entrapment and Phantom Menace. So we'll say Entrapment.
Okay.
The Sean Connery film.
Yes, and did you? I mean, you obviously. Did you apply for the job or did you move up through the ranks in the theater? How did you end up in the booth?
Well, I started in November of '93 and I did everything. I did ticket sales and concessions and ushering. And at that point, it was a union projection booth. So I wasn't allowed up there to start movies.
Okay.
But then when we built a new theater at the mall, they got rid of the union projectionist at that theater, which is kind of a no-no. But then they needed to train and a bunch of the employees, and all the managers had to be aware of how to run a projector and how to lace one up and put film together. And so it was just a necessity at the time.
Okay. And what is the process like when you say lace them up? What is that? Just how you're feeding the film in?
We had a three platter system, and the entire film was put together. It wasn't like sometimes you got to change reels. There's some projectors that are like that, but it was the entire film on the platter, and then you just weave it through various things, and then you weave it through the projector, and then you have it end on another platter, like above it or below it or in the middle. And after the movie was over, it was just ready to go again.
Wow. So you just swap it at that point.
Yeah. And if you had a movie like Thin Red Line, which was like 15 reels, it was huge. Sometimes you'd have to move a print from one theater to another.
Wow.
So the anxiety of holding a print and moving it to a theater down the hallway was excruciating.
Oh, I bet. And heavy.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Especially a big, huge movie. Yeah.
You said that.
Their film is I Am the Possessor. We see images from Maggie's dream, and then she faints, only to awaken, and the class is taking care of her. We learn that the film is called Possessor by Lanyard Gates, which is a great name.
So good.
I mean, I always think of what's In the Mouth of Madness? Is that the Sam Neill?
Yep. Oh, what's his name?
Do you read Sutter Kane?
Sutter Kane, yes.
Yeah, that's another great horror author, not real name, Lanyard Gates. He's the head guru of a film cult. He was laughed at, so he made Possessor, and instead of the final scene, he killed his entire family and burned down the theater. That's one way to end a film, I guess.
Yeah.
Maggie goes to her mom, who's hiding something. Maggie gets another call, and we learn...
Hello.
The ninth circle of hell is reserved for traitors.
Who is this?
I am the possessed. The possessed. The possessed.
Oh my God.
Soon I will be the possessor. I want her.
and tells her to come to Dreamland, which is the theater.
Yes.
So of course she does, and the Marquis attacks her.
Not sure how that happened.
And she still goes in. It's so weird. I was like, how?
Oh, I need to. My
as well.
spidey senses are tingling.
Yeah, exactly. She sees Lanyard on the screen. He says goodbye, Suzanne, and the theater goes dark. A shadowy figure approaches. She fires, and is pulled into the screen. But there's a band playing a scary song.
Scary, scary movies on the silver screen. Aliens, maniacs, tarantulas, and brainiacs, and everything in between.
Everyone's in costumes except for Mark and his new girl at the theater. The masks are all pretty awesome. That's one of the things I loved about this movie was
the one that pukes.
Yeah, the puking double head guy.
Yeah.
It's really great. I get the fact they filmed this in Jamaica. And so all the people in masks are Jamaican, and then they had to hire some white actors to kind of sprinkle into the film, which is pretty interesting. But it's great because when you watch this movie, it has such a rich variety of, different ethnicities and cultures and things going on for the time. I knew there was something I really liked about that, and it's really quite lovely.
Will these films be as shocking as Possessor, Sarah?
A strange man mentions Possessor to Maggie in the ticket booth, and she goes looking for him inside. We get the "Let's all go to the lobby." Did you ever get to play the "Let's all go to the lobby" reel?
Not at the theater, but we actually during the pandemic, we actually put on a movie at the drive-in theater here, and we had to play it then. So
nice.
It's a must.
But was it Ghoulies or Gremlins?
Unfortunately, not. It was we played the original Halloween.
Oh, nice.
And I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. It's about a killer pair of jeans. Slacks. That's it. Slacks.
Oh, I haven't heard of Slacks. What year was that? Do you know?
Here,
Oh, brand new.
The recent, brand new movie.
That's so interesting because there was just In Fabric, and there's also a movie that just came out about a killer weave.
Bad hair. I want.
Yeah, it's bad hair.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting killer things that are not human.
It's awesome. It's super ridiculous, but a pair of killer jeans is really good.
Wow, Slacks. Thank you. I'll check that out. I love seeing the audience in this scene because they put on the 3D glasses. And
they're into it. They're all into it. Yeah.
Also, this is the most well-attended film, series. It's incredibly packed for mosquito and stench, and that's
the electrified man.
Yes, that's that. I didn't realize until the documentary who that man is. The electrified man.
Yeah. I knew I recognized him, but I forgot to look him up.
It's Crispin Glover's dad.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
And once you see it, you can't.
Yeah. Now you say it. Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. I think his name's Bruce Glover. I think so. But it's incredible, and he does an interview on the discs. You should definitely watch. He's
wow, yeah.
He is fascinating, and he is excellent. I think as the electrified man, He totally fits. He looks
probably
like
the best. That's probably the best of the three movies if we have to rank them.
Yeah. Yeah, the stench is really, I don't know if maybe he wasn't finished with that one when he was fired, but it just seemed like there's not a lot to it, whereas the first two, they really go all out. At the peak point in Mosquito, the teacher operates a giant mosquito that flies through the theater, but a shadowy figure has remote control to the mosquito, and the teacher gets impaled. It's a wonderful sort of back and forth situation. We see a vat of faces, and a person is making a mask. When I watched this on my promo tape, this was one of the scenes that really stood out for me. There's something about the shot that seems like, I don't know if it would belong in an Argento film or something, but it's
even the lighting there's this bluish hue that kind of just makes everything glisten.
Yeah,
it's really well done. Yeah,
it's really well done. And this film always, maybe watching it in a video store gave it that feeling, but it feels like something that you would find in the VHS era. It was, I don't know, it just has all the right bells and whistles. And I'm surprised that it's not more well known.
Yeah, I mean, it just got obliterated at the box office to the point where some places put it in their second run theaters.
Oh, wow.
But it's definitely developed a cult following. I know this Synapse Blu-ray took forever to get made. One of the people that championed it, she started campaigns and fundraisers just to get it out there because it was one of her favorite movies.
Yeah, I love it. I was very excited to when you selected this movie to watch it because my wife hadn't seen it, and
nice.
It started and she was like, "This is really good." And
yeah,
I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Why don't more people talk about this?" And I was like, "I don't know. Maybe it's the availability."
Definitely. Well, you can't get it streamed. I think there's one streaming channel that has it, but you have to have a subscription. But it's
Oh
not
yeah.
like you find it on Netflix or Hulu or anything
Yeah,
like
I
that.
didn't look on Shudder. They seem like somebody that would have
Good,
it.
yeah, they should have that.
Um, but it's beautiful on the Synapse Blu-ray. It
Oh,
looks
it's gorgeous,
yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. I don't even know if that's still readily available.
I just tracked it down a couple months ago. So
Oh, nice, good, okay.
but I think I got it off of eBay, so it might have been just second hand. I'm not quite sure. I just knew I had to get it. So it's like it just popped up in my head the other day or a couple months ago, and I was like, I need to own this.
Yes, yeah.
And then when I put it on, I realized like, oh, I wore this out. Like I know this movie. Like it's so good when you come across those films that you're like, oh, I'm mouthing the words. I didn't even realize that
Yeah, I haven't watched this in 20 years, but I know all the dialogue by
yeah,
heart.
yeah.
Am I getting this right, or am I just delirious?
I didn't say that he came back from the dead.
Right, but with this Sarah thing, run that by me again?
He called me Sarah. Maybe he thinks I'm his daughter.
So Gates has a daughter named Sarah.
Yes.
And we know this how?
I don't know, Mark, but I knew.
Maggie tries to explain it all to Mark, who is not smart. Toby returns and is super pissed because he got locked out. The second feature begins, The Attack of the Electrified Man, starring Bruce Glover. There, I wrote it down. Mark returns to find a man in his seat, and we get the awesome line,
Eat shit, asshole.
one of the more quotable parts there. And then Mark gets knocked out. That's pretty great. The electric chair scene. So there's a scene here where the actor is in a wheelchair and he's electrifying using a board. The seats.
Which happens to have the exact number of seats in the theater, even though this is this was made for something.
This is an homage to The Tingler, right?
Yeah.
And my favorite part about the scene is that while he's electrifying these people, he's got zingers prepared, but he's totally by himself. He's just like he's delivering these
playing to himself.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty great. We see the dead teacher, only he isn't dead. What's going on here? I thought. Student comes onto him and they kiss, and his lips pull off, and he removes his face to reveal the sort of burnt, melted face. Yeah. And I loved this effect when I first saw it. I still love it. There's something so just disturbing of his face sticking to hers and peeling away.
Oh, yeah. Even before they kiss, you could see like some of the makeup and the seams are coming
which when you think about it, the layers of the effects that they're doing on him, because you have a guy with no face who's putting on a face, who's then putting other faces over that
on
face.
top of him.
I mean, all the layers to that. It's fascinating.
Like an onion.
Yeah. Yes. It's a flesh onion.
That is a great name for a band.
Yes.
TM registered.
There it is. Flesh onion. Oh, it's awful.
Hey, listen, did you see anybody come into the box office after I left? Mr. Davis. Where'd he go? He just left.
Maggie spots Tina in the dark, and her corpse is being puppeted by the faceless man. This is a lovely little scene.
Weekend at Bernie's action.
Yeah, doing the little voice and everything. Maggie and Mark go outside, and Tina ties the guy in the wheelchair to the electrical board and electrocutes him in a very elaborate way. There's like
he's got to unplug something.
Oh my gosh, a race against time that he's not going to get to.
The red light and the yellow lights.
Yeah, and I love anytime a killer explains the scenario. He's like, they could just kill you, but instead they're like, okay, so I planned this out. I've tied you to the chair, and when this light gets to here, you'll be electrocuted.
Like, what if he did unplug it? Would he have just sat there and screamed for help? And
I'd imagine you're just like lingering in the doorway, like. Did he do it?
Oh shit, he did it.
He almost did it. Can I go? I don't know.
Oh no, there.
Okay. Then sets a tape recorder down. Oh, that's right. This is the last part of what he does. He sets a tape recorder down.
You'll get a charge out of this. Watch the panel. The lights will go on in the following order. Red, blue, green. Oh, what's that? Green, blue. Oh, I forget.
It's a voice that's joking. It's it's a pre-recorded shtick that he's prepared. So
like he knew what he was gonna say, or
I mean, he's planned this so strangely and to the T. Like I imagine when they go down into the basement that there's like one whole wall that's just the explanation of like how to tie the wheelchair up, and then there's
it's like one of those Acme blueprints from a
Yeah,
Looney Tunes.
yes.
Or like,
I'd imagine there's outtakes of him practicing the recording.
all right. No. He's rewinding it.
Yeah. He's like, wait, I got a better joke. Okay, this time. Oh man. I'd pay to see that. Popcorn 2. Maggie and Mark return, and Mark has ripped the ass of his pants, which is pretty interesting, climbing over a fence. And then another lady sews it. Like she has a sewing kit.
The nurse, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like I love that type of thing where she's like, I'm going to be a nurse. So what I'll need is a needle and thread.
I need to stitch. I might have to stitch somebody.
Yeah. I mean, it's a costume, but I should probably also go to medical school. The shocking shuts the power down. And then Mark falls down some stairs. They don't know what to do with the power down. So they bring on a band that just is ready to go right away.
Jamaican band, baby.
Yeah. And they perform Pocomania Day. Which is a catchy little ditty. And it's so funny this far since originally seeing it. So I watched it so many times with the Jamaican band performing that it didn't seem odd anymore.
Yeah, it was like, it's just a band. You know?
Yeah, it's got to be a band. I mean, when you watch movies in the 80s and 90s, it's wild, the different bands and styles that you would see, you know? But this time I was like, knowing that they're in Jamaica, I was like, okay.
Makes it.
Yeah, this makes sense on an actual level, not just one where I've rationalized it for some reason. Maggie goes to see Bud, and it's Spectre.
I'm not Sarah. I'm not your daughter. I'm not your child.
Oh, yes. Think. An altar. A sword. Mommy dearest. The fire. A gunshot. And now it's time to join your mother.
She takes off. We get a dream montage of the mom shooting the guy and kind of filling us in on all this stuff. And I got to say, again, the Synapse Blu-ray, it looks beautiful. When I watched this promo tape, I don't think I saw half the stuff that was happening because there's like
probably all cut off. Yeah.
And it's like there's
added scan probably.
Yeah. And there's smoke and it's just mushy because it's like just promo tape. You know, it's not like they gave us the best qualities. A lot of times they would just have a crappy sticker stuck on the tape that we would get. And I'd be like, I guess I'll watch this. That's how There's Nothing Out There was. If you've ever seen that, I had that promo tape as well. Now we got two names. Maggie/Sarah runs into Toby and she says all the things that she's just learned. Her aunt saved her, pretended to be her mom. They need to go get the lights on. So underground they go. Toby falls and is gone. And then we see Mr. Davis and then Tina, which once we learn about the makeup effects, he's just throwing faces on apparently and then walking from behind shelves.
Like really easily too.
Yes. He's so good at it.
It's like Mrs. Doubtfire where he's just,
yes,
it's perfect. Oh, it's good.
Oh, it's perfect. And he doesn't do like a lady's voice. Like when he is a lady, he has a lady's voice. It's very, it's not.
Well, he said he had some kind of voice changer thing on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very Scooby-Doo, some of the reasoning that's going on here.
It is very Scooby-Doo.
Right? I mean, he even unmasks himself numerous times. If he had just been like, I would have got away with it too. In the theater, the lights come up and they begin the third feature, The Stench. But I was wondering who's operating the camera at this point?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the projector. I mean...
He's off putting on masks.
Yeah, somebody has to start those reels. And what movie do you think, as a projectionist, you saw the most?
Oh, good one.
Wait, first question.
Okay.
Before that, do you have to stay in the projection booth the whole time the movie's playing?
No. I mean, it was 12 screens, so I had to walk around and just make sure stuff wasn't
you're
coming
starting
off.
All those movies while you're on shift?
Yep. It was glorious. It was wonderful.
Wow.
If there was no problems and nothing wound up or broke, the projection booth was just a godsend, because while they were getting crushed down in the box office and concession, I was just like, oh, I got to go start a movie. And
wow.
just not a care in the world. But if something went wrong, it was just holy, like
Yeah.
high blood pressure, and because sometimes it would wrap we call them brain wraps, where the film would just wrap around the center thing, and or it would break or come off a reel and scratch the print. There was a lot of anxiety involved, but it was all worth it.
And what is the process like before we get to what you saw the most? When you get trailers, do you have to connect them to the movies, or how does that work?
Yep, we would call it a trailer reel. So you would just undo it and snip off a certain part of it, and then just tape it to another part, and just.
And would
wind
you
it
get
up.
like I don't know, wouldn't be an email then, just a letter saying like, we're running the trailer for The Naked Gun 33 and a third. So
I mean, at that point, it was email. So yeah,
Oh.
we would get an email list of what goes on certain films, and obviously, if it was a Disney movie, most of the trailers would be upcoming Disney films.
Yes, you always hear about the snafus where someone puts like Slaughterhouse-5 or
Yeah.
something right before Bambi.
Boys in the Hood before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so what movie do you think you saw the most from the booth?
Well, back in the day, we would just come in after hours and run stuff, which was the greatest thing, because we would all go
Wow.
to like a 7-Eleven, get all our snacks, and then we would just go up and watch our films.
Oh,
Probably.
sure, you're allowed to bring snacks into the theater.
Yes,
I see.
yes,
how
we
it
are.
works.
Yeah. Perks of the job. It might actually be Austin Powers Gold member.
Oh, all right.
We would just be like, "You guys want to watch Gold member?" And we would just go in and put it on.
That's great. We had a theater at our mall that had 12 screens, and one of them was a dollar theater.
Nice.
And so they ran Edward Scissorhands for the longest time. And so if we had $1, we were like, "Do you want to go to a movie?" And we would just go sit through Edward
Sit in it, yeah.
Scissorhands,
Yeah.
just because it's a movie. I don't know. We did it.
Well, even when I wasn't projection, we would just, like, when we played Pulp Fiction, I would just, no matter where it was at, I would just walk in and sit and watch the rest of the movie.
Yeah, that's great. What do they do digitally now? They're not shipping film around, are they?
Well, they were shipping like drives. They would come in like
Oh.
a Mission Impossible 3 kind of,
They drop through the
pack.
ceiling.
Yeah. But as technology evolved, it was just downloaded. Yeah.
Wow.
See what I mean? They don't need anybody up there. So you would just hit a button, it would download it to the specific projector, and even the trailers, it was all, and then you would make a playlist
Gosh, it makes
digitally.
me so sad. One of my sort of prized possessions is a friend that worked at a theater brought me, when it came off the trailer reel, the Army of Darkness trailer.
Oh, nice.
And it's just nice to hold it. I've only a couple times like just held it up to the light and looked at a couple cells, and
because you're like zooming it real quick.
yeah,
and
right.
Just
I'm
like, I need to get to a part.
He said boomstick, but I love having it. It makes me sad to think that
That's not a thing anymore.
now it would just hold up a thumb drive or something. Oh man.
Who are you?
I'm Toby. Or nearly Toby. You'll have to forgive the sloppy craftsmanship. Actually, it takes hours every morning to prepare the perfect Toby for the world to see. In truth, I've perfected the quick transition from face to face.
Down below, Maggie is tied up, and we learn that it's all Toby. He tells us why and how, and then he wears a bunch of faces. It's a pretty great sequence. It's where you think, I thought anyway, that Tom Villard, I wish that he had gone on to make way more films. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Yes.
But he is quite memorable in this role, and he does some amazing physical things with his arms and stuff.
He was very, I guess, hearkened to like very Jim Carrey-esque.
Yeah.
Probably could have had that kind of career if he.
Yeah, he's got kind of a relatable thing, like a Tom Hanks kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, Hanks Carrey, like a nice combo. Yeah.
That's actually a great way to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. Mark's new gal goes to Mark in the lobby and starts some stuff and is pretty insulting to the ladies.
Look, I'm sorry, but Maggie had some problems and I had to help her out.
Maggie? What, are you obsessed with this bitch or what? God, I knew you didn't have any brains, but I thought you had some taste.
Why don't you just cool out?
Why don't you just shut your little mouth, you little slut? And as far as Maggie goes, I saw her leave here with that little film nerd. What's his name?
Toby?
Yeah, that's right, Toby. I caught him in the dark. And they were going at it. They were hot and heavy. And you wouldn't believe it. They're on their way to his house.
You're full of shit.
So Mark catches her hand from slapping him, and the big dude comes back that knocked him out earlier with the stench control clothespin still on his nose, and he's got like a nasally voice. It's a great gag. That's another thing about Popcorn is that the humorous parts in it are really funny. Like it's really...
Yeah, and they're not like being degrading to the script or the film. It's natural. All the humor.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a normal life, filled with normal happiness, normal sadness, normal family stuff, normal kids of my own. Do you know how amazing normal stuff seems when there's no chance you ever have it for yourself?
Toby says it's almost time for the big ending here, and then wheels out the mom/aunt, and she's in a full body cast with her arm extended with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like wheeling her around, and this is the interesting part where the sort of the film theater starts to become like a theater, like this spectacle in person.
He is like really good at makeup. I feel like he could have done a better job with that body cast.
Yeah, it's like he tried so hard on all the other things, and then got to that part. He was like, it's gonna take forever.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw this together.
Yeah, he's totally loony, and he says, "I'm rubber and you're glue," which is like, anytime an adult says that, you're like, "Uh-oh, this is not good."
It's off the rails.
Yeah, the remaining two are getting ready to do the odors, where they put the smells for the stench. But the guy has to pee, and suddenly sees himself peeing in the bathroom on his own leg. So now Toby's left them on the stage and is now dressed as the other guy in a bathroom waiting for him to show up to pee.
And shorter.
Yes, very short.
Dumbledore's very tall.
Yeah, he's a master. Grabs him and locks him in the stall, and he explodes. I'm not quite sure what happens.
Yeah,
in this sequence. I love it. I love all of it. I love the costume, but I'm so confused. When he enters the projection booth, she says, "You were gone a while," and he says, "I had some gas," which is like so good. Oh man. Then he almost kills the lady, but she says that she has a crush on Toby.
Yeah.
And so he lets her live.
Anyway, what do you think?
About what?
Toby, does he like me?
Likes you.
What's wrong with your voice? You sound so weird.
I got a frog in my throat.
Sounds like a crocodile. Anyway, I need to know. I mean, I'm walking around madly in love with this guy, and he just acts like I don't even exist. You're impartial. What's your opinion? Is he shy or what?
Look, I got my own problems. Just leave me alone, all right?
Men.
Which this film, you sometimes with the horror films, when you got the hack and slash going on, they can be pretty mean-spirited. And this film has this like fun feel to it. And I think that that's one of the things that makes me think of like going to the theater. I never went to the theater like sad on my way to the theater. It was always like fun. Like I'm gonna go.
We're going to the theater.
Yeah, have escape. I'm gonna watch a film. You know, the only time I was really sad was probably Dancer in the Dark. And I was really sad at that theater. But that's more so the film.
Is that the Bjork movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to be sad in those.
Oh yeah, man. I saw it by myself in a little art house theater, and everyone was just weeping, like where you're like shaking weeping. It was so disturbing. And then I went home and sat on I just got my first apartment, just sat on my bed and was like, I don't even know what to do with myself anymore. Like,
I gotta watch an Ernest movie and cleanse the palate.
Yeah, not Ernest Goes to Africa though. That is highly problematic. Mark goes to Toby's apartment, and Toby has a whole wall of magazine articles. I mean, it's very disturbing. The landlord has busted in and says there's body parts in chemicals in the tub.
You know what he's got in that tub? He's got things that look like human skulls and body parts. It's probably some kind of Jack the Ripper or something.
And does Mark look? No, not at all. Mark just leaves.
He's Kaiser Soze, and he's just looking around at the various
I'm gonna piece all this
clippings.
together.
Yeah.
It's funny that scene is in there because we as an audience have already been told what's going on.
Yeah, we already know who the killer is.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, we got to show Mark getting it. And I'm like, we already know Mark's not very smart. This could take forever.
His hero moment.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, that's certainly coming up. Toby begins Possessor, and Mark returns and the doors are locked. So Mark climbs the marquee. It's wild how athletic he is all of a sudden. The curtain raises and the audience thinks this is part of the show. Toby has the audience count down to midnight, and he's going to murder her in front of all these people. Mark slides down a wire, and Toby gets mad that it's all being ruined.
No, you're ruining it!
Toby gets impaled by the electrified mosquito. Maggie and Mark chat outside, and the police and paramedics take care of business. And we get another great song, a rap.
Which was classic in the 90s.
Yes.
Every horror film had their rap.
Yeah, they get scary
Final song.
movie on the silver screen.
Scary movies on the silver screen. Make me shake, make me sweat, you know what kind I mean. Scorched dead, nightmares, the innocent possessed. Raging fires, vampires, people crawling, bug infested out.
And that's the end of Popcorn. Did we touch on not touch on anything that you would like to mention?
I liked how the how in most of these movies they're the hero and save the day kind of thing, and he was just a bumbling idiot.
Yes.
And even when he did save the day, it was all by it's dumb.
Yeah.
even though sliding down on the wire with his belt was pretty badass, but he missed the mark and runs into a bunch of boxes. And
yes. It's an incredible landing.
That's off this Rube Goldberg-esque electrical shocks and carts and the
yeah. And even in the last scene when he's talking to Maggie, he's not like this hero, He's like he's just the same Mark.
You want to go on a date?
You want to go see a movie? Okay, maybe not a movie right away.
Yeah, maybe we just stick to TV.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of Popcorn and the final section of the podcast, which are questions just about you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So are there any common misconceptions about being a projectionist?
Oh, yes. You can't rewind. You can't rewind the movie. People, can you rewind it? It's very, very complicated. I mean, yes, essentially there is a way, but it's pretty much just taking the trailer and whatever had already played and just plopping it back in the center. So you pretty much have to start the movie all over again.
Oh, wow.
But so many people, whenever something broke or there was no sound that people missed, they think you can just rewind it, and that's not the case.
Doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
What are there any movies that you have distinct memories of not working or having some sort of complication?
The Justin Bieber movie.
There was a Justin Bieber movie?
Yeah, there was like a concert movie.
Oh.
For like the first 15 minutes, there was no sound, and I had no clue as to why.
An act of God.
Yeah, this is for the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like if the humidity was off in the projection booth, the prints would slide around on the platters, which was a nightmare. So we had to devise ways to just kind of hold them in. I'll never forget walking into a projection booth, and it was like a Salvador Dali painting. It was like the print was just hanging off the side of the platter, and I like John Wooed it and slid on my knees and caught it and threw it back onto the platter before it fell off.
Whoa. Doves flew over you in slow motion.
Yeah. Why am I going so slow? Prince just bursting into flames. Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, probably for the best. But
really,
we were just sitting there watching, running it down, and just
flames.
this gets caught, there's like the teeth. It's quite a mess. It smells super bad, but
Oh. What is a good day like for a projectionist?
no problems. Basically, I would usually do Saturday nights, so I would get a nice dinner, like a nice sub, and I would bring in my mini DVD player and have a bunch of movies. Even though I was surrounded by movies, I just would sit at my desk and watch DVDs, and I would lace everything up before they would start. So when it was come time to, and we had our schedule, when it was come time to start them, I would just go and hit a button, make sure the lamp turned on and the dowser opened up, and you were good to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the last word you said?
Dowser?
Yeah. What is that?
It's the thing that blocks the light and then opens up to.
Oh, okay. The dowser.
Yeah.
All right. So would you just like you had the schedule and you just be like, okay, I got to go start Rocky and Bullwinkle in 15 minutes, and then I walk across to theater number 7, and
yeah.
And when a movie ended, does it stop automatically?
It does. There's cues on the actual film, like little silver stickers that you would put in there yourself, and it told it when the lights to go up and it told the lights to go down, and it shuts the dowser and turns the bulb off, and it just.
And would a theater run a film only when it's making a certain amount of money, or when does it move, like go away, essentially?
Sometimes theaters are committed to showing something a
Yeah, how
certain
does that
amount of
work?
weeks.
Is that something with the film companies, or?
Yeah, they would book it. They would tell you how many prints you were getting, and how long you could play it. And then obviously, it just when things die down, it just makes its way out. You knew something was leaving when it got doubled up with another movie.
Oh yeah.
Like the 1 o'clock was this thing, and then the 4 o'clock movie was another. And then you knew for sure that it was going to be its last week.
Oh yeah. So you don't mean like as a double feature, you just mean there's 2 movies playing in the same theater.
That's correct. Yep.
Not filling those seats.
No.
All right. Do you remember any terrible openings? Like where you just instantly knew, like, well, this isn't gonna run for long.
Blair Witch 2.
Oh yeah.
So bad that people, like, I wasn't even running projection that day. I was managing downstairs, and people were coming out just so pissed off. I was like, "That's the movie. I don't know what to tell you."
Yeah. No,
I can't give out refunds for the quality of film. It's
I bet you got that a lot.
Buyer beware. Yeah. We didn't like that movie. Can we get our money back? It's like, that's not how this works.
Yeah. We'd be out of business all the time.
Yeah.
With everybody's differing opinions. There's people that love Blair Witch too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw that in the theater as well. Oh boy.
Yeah.
The only movie I ever wanted to walk out of was Fear. I don't know if you ever saw the movie, not the one with Mark Wahlberg, but there's one where there's a wooden man.
Fear.com?
No, it's just called Fear.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll send you the image of it. But there's a part, so this guy's made of wood, and he's supposed to be like the killer in the whole thing. And there's a part where he like floats up in a hot tub, and I was just like, all right, like I can go with
that wood would be warped.
I can go with a lot of things, but no. What is a bad day like for a projectionist?
Brain wraps.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the worst, because like I said, I would lace these films up early, and if I walked away, if something was just slightly off, it would keep spinning.
Yeah.
So when I would go to eventually start it, it'd be like, this isn't starting, and it would seize up, and that's when the film would break. Falling off the platter, that's just a nightmare.
What if there was? Did you ever have multiple issues? Like like no sound in one, and
yes, exactly. Like you'd be trying to fix theater 3, and then you would be told that there's no sound in this theater, and it's like, well, I'm trying, and that's when you have to work on your patience, and could someone come up and start it, so you hopefully, if another manager was trained, they can give you a hand.
Wow.
Dropping a print, that's the ultimate, like, because Thursday nights is when you would get ready for Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So something like Lost World was moving from theater 2 to theater 7, so you'd have to carry it through the various projection booths because they weren't all connected. Some of them had their own rooms. And
Oh
if you
yeah, I
dropped-
never even thought about that. I imagine you just going from theater to theater through the main
Yeah.
hallway. There's
you're dealing with stairs and doors, and if you dropped a print, that was the end of the night. I'm going home now.
Wow. That is
Eventually, they invented something. It was a sleeve where you just slid the print into, and then you could carry it nicely. That was a godsend.
like a pizza box.
Yeah, yeah,
Similarly.
pretty much. Yeah.
What was your favorite thing about being a projectionist?
The power of God, because you were the one starting the movie. Just the peace and quiet when it was a good day.
It sounds peaceful.
Read a book, watch a movie, listen to a podcast. Oh, the amount of podcasts I would listen to when those became a thing.
Yeah.
I probably listened to 10 podcasts. Now I listen to probably 2.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. But did you I mean, would people come and like coworkers come and bother you, or was it just like you just go to work and you're just running projectors?
I never considered it a bother. I always welcomed it. It took me away from reading or watching my movie because I had my Netflix queue I had to get through. But yeah, when you'd see an usher doing their theater, there was a thing called theater checks where they had to go into the theater
Yes.
to make sure everything's copacetic. You'd run into them and you'd have a laugh. Again, it was just you'd look down from the window and see the craziness and the busyness, and you'd be like, "This is good."
Seems pretty awesome.
It was a good time. Yeah, that's a memory I'll never forget. I'll cherish my projection shifts.
Yeah, that's what I think too about growing up in a video store. I didn't think it was unique or anything because it was my experience as a kid.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a friend gave me, I say this on so many episodes, but a friend gave me a book of VHS cover art, and I had this visceral response. Thomas Hodge's book.
Yeah, I have that. That's awesome. The
It's
dude
so good.
designs. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's beautiful. And I had like a visceral response and was like, oh my gosh. And then it just like was overwhelming. So yeah, I mean, having that experience of almost 13 years of running.
There's another one where it's just all VHS stickers.
I have that one too. He gave me that
Okay,
one
good.
as well.
Yeah.
That was the follow-up one. I have it right over there. Yeah. I also got that Blood on Black Wax book. Have you seen?
Yep, I have that too.
I think we probably have a lot of the same books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. And oh gosh, wow. Well, here we are. This is the final question, and it's my favorite question. Chris.
Yes.
What are your dreams like?
Like currently, like when I go to sleep?
Yep.
I actually had a weird nightmare like the other day. Somebody was in my house and I saw them, but they didn't see me. And then I wasn't sure if I could get out the front door in time. And then I woke up.
That sounds pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
You're the first person I think I've had on the podcast that doesn't currently have the profession that we're discussing. Do you remember what your sleep was like when you were a projectionist? Would it be cinematic films? Did you have stressful dreams of brain wraps?
It was cinematic, I would say. If I was sleeping, because back in the day we would have midnights and you're not getting out of there till 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It was just passing out and probably barely getting into REM. So, and then you'd wake up to have school, or if at the time I was married with the kids. So there wasn't much dreaming back then. It was just instant passing out and then waking up 3-4 hours later.
Yeah. Oh, I'm married with kids. For some reason, I had you at this job and you were like 18, 19. That's not the case?
Let's see, 99. So no, I was probably 20, 21.
Okay.
When I
And you
started doing projection.
Had kids then? Later.
Just maybe a year or two later. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what
I married young.
Did the kids get to go to the movies for free?
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's a pretty
And now
good
my
deal.
he's in college and he's studying film. So
Oh, there you go.
it all comes full circle.
Yeah, I love it. That's fantastic. Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for
Thank you for
talking
having me.
popcorn.
This was a blast. Yeah.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. I've never met a projectionist. I never even knew what happened up there. I was more of the VCR guy, but okay, that's wonderful. So once again, you are Polish Phenom with O's being zeros
Yes.
on Instagram and Twitter. And people should check out what Fright Rags have coming out soon, because it might be a shock clock.
Ooh, yes, hopefully.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.